What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for week 6 of the Bundesliga predictions. Now, we had a good week last week. We had 6 out of 9 correct tips and 1 perfect score by Leverkusen to beat St. Pauli 2-1. So there was profit in that video, over 10 units, and there's only 9 picks. So that's a win. Real quick, flashing up on the screen, all of the people that are supporting me over on the Patreon. If you want to get access to exclusive members tips, accumulators, especially with all the European football that we've got going on, then click that top link in the description. You also, of course, get a shout out in every single video. And if you are interested about the Champions League that kicks off as you're watching this video, then you can go back and watch yesterday's video where I predicted the Champions League fixtures. And thank you so much for the support on that video. That video was the fastest video I've ever had reach 10,000 views on the Full 90 channel, and we've gone up another 300 subscribers since yesterday. So we're really close to 38,000 subscribers, which is just absolutely insane. So if you are new here, if you like your predictions, then be sure to click sub down below. Now, we kick it off in the Bundesliga. The games on this website, they all say they're starting at 4 p.m. on Saturday. They're not, so they're all in a bit of a funny order, but this is just the order the website's got it. So they don't all happen at the same time. They don't even happen in this order, but we're just going to go with what this website says. So we're kicking it off with Augsburg up against Wolfsburg, the Burger Derby. Wolfsburg losing 1-0 to RB Leipzig. Augsburg losing 2-1 to Heidenheim. That is not a good result for Augsburg. And what Wolfsburg should win this one. They absolutely should, but they haven't won since the opening day against Heidenheim. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw and say that Augsburg finally get a point. However, I think Wolfsburg, if I had to pick a winner, I'd pick them. So I'm going to tip Wolfsburg double chance and both teams to score at 2.15. Surely we don't get let down like Wolfsburg did against Leipzig. I think Wolfsburg will score here, and Augsburg, I think they can score here too at home. After this, Bayer Leverkusen up against Union Berlin. Now, I mean, if we look, Bayer Leverkusen will be playing in the Champions League. Let me just refresh my memory. They're playing PSV in the Champions League, which should be an interesting one. I think they can beat PSV, and I think they can beat Union Berlin as well. Union Berlin, they drew here against Hamburg 0-0, and that is just not good enough. You've got to get points off Hamburg, especially when you're playing at home. And when you can beat Frankfurt 4-3, I don't see how you don't beat Hamburg. So I think Bayer Leverkusen are going to win this one. The same scoreline that I predicted for Bayer Leverkusen PSV. I'm going to say 2-1, and I'm actually going to press the button on my highest odds tip of the day. Bayer Leverkusen to win and both teams to score at odds of 3.4. The odds are huge, and I think Bayer Leverkusen will get the win. After this, we travel to Dortmund for Borussia Dortmund up against RB Leipzig, the two teams realistically that can maybe challenge for the title in the Bundesliga, I suppose, as well as Bayer Leverkusen perhaps, but they had a bit of a ropey start under Erik ten Hag. But Dortmund and Leipzig, 4 wins this season each. Leipzig only L was against Bayern Munich 6-0. And Dortmund have been looking really good. They drew with St. Pauli when they were winning 3-1 till the last minute. So they kind of threw that away, to be honest. But they could have been faultless otherwise. And they obviously had, I mean, for a Dortmund fan, a heartbreaking result in the Champions League, 4-4 against Juventus. If we look at the Champions League fixtures, we can see that Borussia Dortmund face Athletic Club Bilbao in the Champions League this game week. But I think Dortmund can win here against Leipzig. I'm going to go for a 3-2 win, but the tip is going to be over 3.5 goals at 1.9, just in case we see a 2-2 draw, a 3-3 draw or even a 3-2 win to Leipzig. Could go either way, but I think Dortmund will win this one, and I was very close to going Borussia Dortmund to win as a tip, and that's definitely something I consider. If you don't think this goes over 3.5 goals, then definitely look at Borussia Dortmund to take the win. After this, we have Monchengladbach up against Freiburg. Gladbach winless this season. They are bottom of the Bundesliga. And I mean, I said in the Champions League video that Gladbach have kind of fallen off recently, but this is not good, is it? This is not good at all. And I'm actually going to go for Gladbach to finally get their first win against a Freiburg side who have had a mixed bag of results. They started off the season badly against Augsburg and Cologne, but since then they've beaten Stuttgart, Bremen, and drawn with Hoffenheim. So good results for Freiburg. They're yet to face anyone sort of really massive. You look at Gladbach's fixtures, they lost to Frankfurt, drew with Leverkusen, lost to Bremen, lost to Stuttgart. The Hamburger draw, that's a bad one. But the rest of the results, they're good teams they're playing against. It should start to look up for Gladbach, and I think it starts here. I'm going to go 2-1, but the tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.61. After this, we have Eintracht Frankfurt up against Bayern Munich. Now, Frankfurt will be playing Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. Bayern Munich, a much easier tie against Paphos in the Champions League, and I don't see a way in which Frankfurt, as good as they are, and a brilliant result against Gladbach 6-4 there, I don't see how they beat Bayern Munich. So I think they'll score a couple. I'm going to go for a 4-2 win to Bayern. This is one of those that does have Bayern Munich to win and both teams to score written all over it. So that's going to be my tip. Bayern and both teams to score at 2.3. It's hard to see any team beating Bayern to the Bundesliga title here, to be honest. And you've got to consider them at the very least for a shot at the Champions League as well. And I think Bayern will be able to beat Frankfurt here in this one. After this, it is Hamburg up against Mainz. Hamburg on 5 points, Mainz on 4. Not a very good start for Mainz. Not a terrible start for Hamburg. I don't think they're a great team as far as Bundesliga teams go. I'm just going to shade this one to Mainz. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win, but I love the odds of this tip. It's Mainz double chance and under 3.5 goals at 2. I think, you know, that allows for 0-0, 1-1, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 to Mainz, and a 2-1. That's a lot of scorelines that I think could happen. The only way it obviously doesn't, really, is if Hamburg win, and I just don't see it. They got the win against Heidenheim, but Heidenheim also aren't great. They just survived relegation last season, so I think Mainz do take the win here. After this, it is, I believe, the opening fixture of the weekend. It's Hoffenheim up against Cologne, and I think this is going to be an exciting game, an entertaining game. Cologne with a brilliant start, Mainz, Freiburg, and Wolfsburg, but then they lost to Leipzig, they lost to Stuttgart, and obviously we had both teams score in both. I think that'll happen again. Hoffenheim games always have both teams to score in, and I'm going to go for the same one here. I'm going to say 2-1, but the tip is both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at odds of 1.8. After this, we have Stuttgart up against Heidenheim. Again, I believe, who are Stuttgart playing? Where are they on my list? They're playing Basel in the Europa League. So I think they will win that. And similarly, I think they can beat Heidenheim, who got their first win of the season against Augsburg. Did not expect that, taking them off the bottom of the league table. But I think Stuttgart win this one. And my score prediction is going to be quite straightforward 2-0. Quite rare that I go for win to nil, but just in case it is a 2-0, the tip is going to be VfB Stuttgart to win and over 1.5 goals. That gives you odds of 1.53, which is really low, but the odds of Stuttgart to win are about 1.4. So I don't see it being 1-0, so that adds 0.1 just for nothing really. So I'm going to go 2-0 to Stuttgart. The final game of the game week, it is Werder Bremen up against St. Pauli. Both teams come to the back of 2 losses. Bayern and Freiburg to Bremen without reply from them. St. Pauli lost to Leverkusen and Stuttgart scoring only 1 goal. I think confidence will be low for both these teams, but ultimately both teams will think they can get something from this game, and I think that means they'll cancel each other out 1-1. And the tip, we're going for super value. It's going to be both teams to score and under 3.5 goals at odds of 3.1. So you can see there the summary of my picks. I've got only Heidenheim and Hamburg failing to score in the Bundesliga this week. It's rare that I have many teams not scoring, to be honest, but if I had to look at potential upsets, you've got to look at Borussia Monchengladbach at home to Freiburg, because Gladbach are sat rock bottom of the Bundesliga without a win. So to suggest that they will get their first win, perhaps that's a little bit unlikely, a little bit hopeful, I would say. I think Borussia Dortmund Leipzig, it'll either be 5 or more goals or 1 goal or less. There's no in between here. I genuinely do believe that. And who knows, Leipzig are definitely good enough to beat anyone on their day. Even though they lost 6-0 to Bayern, they can beat absolutely anyone in the world on their day when it works. There's a few teams in the Bundesliga, you know, the likes of Bayern, Dortmund, Leipzig, Leverkusen to an extent, that can beat anyone on their day. So this game promises to be really intriguing. Similarly, this one, Eintracht Frankfurt, there is a part of me that sees Frankfurt just winning this game, you know, because it's unlikely that Bayern win. Well, it's very unlikely Bayern win every game, but unlikely that Bayern go invincible for the season, right? So they'd have to drop points somewhere, and this very much could be one of those games. So those are my picks for the Bundesliga. If you did enjoy this video, please do drop a like, subscribe to join us on the road to 40,000 subscribers. That is going to do it from me, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.